Welcome to another episode of Artistic Voices. I am Marlon Walters, and today with me I have a special guest. His name is Dimas Cortez. He serves his church as a worship leader, and also in his professional life, he works as a nurse practitioner. Dimas Cortez, welcome to Artistic Voices.
Thank you, Marlon. So good to be here again. Just a pleasure to be on the show with you.
Yes, it's really nice to reconnect. And for my listening audience, the last time you'd have heard from Dimas was when he was on the Upward Way podcast, and he took us through his faith journey. But just in case you're new here, Dimas, could you just give us a little summary of who you are and also your faith journey?
Yes. So my name is Dimas Cortez. What you've already heard from Marlon, and I was born in Los Angeles, California. And as a young child, like maybe like around 11, I we came to Pennsylvania. My dad had a job transfer, and here I started doing music. I went to school for music, and then also when I finished that, I went back to school for medical, like for nursing and the nurse practitioner. But currently, right now, I'm serving at a community health center in the area, and then I'm also doing full-time worship at my church with a friend of mine that we partnered together. So I'm doing that, and then also recording and releasing original songs and partnering with other artists, putting out music, original music, and it's been fun. It's been a fun journey, and it's a pleasure to be back with you, Marlon, to just kind of update and talk about like new releases and future endeavors too.
Yes, it sounds like a lot of fun, but also like a lot of work.
Yes.
Before I jump, into this new release and your collaboration, so how do you really? I don't want to say balance, but how do you really manage your time so that you are able to, be fresh for work and still have enough time to do music? Because as you say, it's not just music, but original content. So how do you really, are able to allocate time to both projects?
Yeah, the one thing that has really helped me is like planning co-writing times with other individuals to keep me accountable to continue writing. So it has been a little growing pains, a little difficult and challenging sometimes because I'm working 40 hours a week as a nurse practitioner, but then around that I'm also doing some real estate endeavors. I'm helping a friend with insurance company. I'm doing some like international car renting. So I think everything it's so important to manage time in a way that you're able to not only do the things that you want to do, but then also plan for self-care, which a big thing for me is like on Wednesdays I'll have off. So like even now doing this and just speaking with you, like obviously planning for that. And I love, just sharing the gospel and like the stories behind the song. So that's really refreshing to me. So I think a lot of times even planning time where there's like nothing, like where I do nothing, I just hang out with friends or hanging out with someone. But it's always, I think the biggest strength that I have is like partnering with individuals because I'm collaborating with other individuals to help me with um the things that I'm doing apart from like my main profession. I'll partner with my friend who's a producer to produce my song. So that's like on the back end. Like I have, for example, like right now I have probably like 6 or 7 songs that still need to be released. So those are on the back end. They're being worked on. So I've already did the work beforehand, so I don't have to like continue doing each individual song. So like I have some time to breathe and not have to feel like I need to like keep on writing. But that's always something that I'm intentionally doing with my friends. We plan a time to co-write and and then like just partnering with individuals to help with like the different ventures like real estate. Like I'm partnering with a friend so we could both manage it so it's not like all on me as a load. So I think the biggest thing that I would just to summarize, the biggest thing that I do is like planning with intentional strategies and then also partnering with other people so you can offset the load. And that's the biggest thing that has helped me for sure.
I like the sound of that two planning, because there's this cliche but true statement that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. But as you say,
Yeah.
you also collaborate. And that is something that we have to realize the importance of collaboration because you
Hmm.
can't do it all. And that aspect of self care, as I mean, someone in the helping profession, then you would know more
Yeah.
about that. So, as you share that, maybe I'll get back to one or two things you say, but I want to, would say cut to the chase. This latest project that you are doing, you released just last week at the time of recording your latest single, Priceless. So, what's the
Yeah.
story behind Priceless?
So the story, it's interesting because Kagan, I'm not sure if you've interviewed Kagan recently or before, but him and I collaborated together on this song, and he at first, I think this we started writing this song like maybe 2.5 years ago, and I said, hey bro, this is I want to write another song with you because it's our second song. The first song was Better Day. This one is a different take because I was like, hey, I want to write a song. And he was like, well, you know what? I've been thinking about creation and God creating us. And then, like, at that very moment, like within the next hour, I felt like I had a whole chorus. And it was talking about like how, he made the moon, sun, stars in the sky, create everything just right. But when he made us, he took his time because we're priceless. And so the idea behind the song is that, we're fearfully and wonderfully made by God. And he did step down from his throne and died on the cross because we were worth dying for. And so many voices around us tell us, you're not good enough, you're not worth it. And even, we're our own worst critics. So a lot of times internally people struggle with, telling themselves, I'm not worth it or I'm not doing this. And recently, I've even in my own practice, dealing with a lot of young people that have been dealing with anxiety and depression, a lot of the like not good enough, not measuring up has been coming up. And I think that it really encourages me to encourage others to know that, hey, you do have worth, you do have a purpose. God has given us a purpose and worth, and He's died on the cross for us. And I think the scripture that we are wonderfully and fearfully made is so right for this song, that we are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that God has called us and out of the darkness into his marvelous light. So obviously there's a reason for God coming down and reaching and dying for us. And this song kind of portrays the importance of knowing the worth that we have in Christ and believing it. So it's kind of like a fun Christian pop song, and it's like a fun take on like the message of being priceless. So like when someone's hearing the song, I want them to hear like, hey, yeah, like let me get happy because like God does declare to be fearfully and wonderfully made. It's just a different take on the message, but it's still the same message woven throughout the whole song for sure.
Yes, as you say, you know, feel happy. I remember when I was a child, I saw the word priceless, and my childish brain was thinking worthless. But as I've
Yeah.
become an adult, I'm able to understand the difference. Priceless means there's, I mean, there's no tagline. There's no tag in terms of cost that we can put on you. Your value is
Yeah.
insurmountable, while worthless on the other hand is without you. So the song is reminding
Yeah.
all of us that in Christ we are worth so much more than we could ask, think, or imagine. And as you
Yeah.
quoted from First Peter chapter 2, verse 9 there, we
Mhm.
are a chosen generation. So back to the project, you spoke about collaborating with several artists. You just mentioned Kaégan, and I have not yet interviewed him, but shortly, he'll be in studio, so to speak. So, who are some of the other artists that you have collaborated with, or you're planning to collaborate with?
So yeah, so there's some other we so Lenny Young, we've tried to do some things. We haven't like recorded a song that we've written, but we've have like gotten together, do some songwriting. I've just even collaborating with Brandon Marin. is another artist that I released God's in It recently, about like 3 or 4 months ago. And then also with my producer Landry Cantrell, he is an artist himself, but he produces. So we always collaborate together when we're doing the music. And then another individual that's going to be releasing some singles is Kevin Ostromecki. So it's kind of like I'm allowing myself to get different perspectives. So I think, and then another one, Katie Sullivan, she also has some music out there. But I was gonna say that when you're collaborating with different individuals, you're bringing different perspectives, and then you're able to not only like stay in your own like box, but like there's other people like giving you their perspective as well. So it's really great because you're able to get challenged in songwriting. And I've done some groups, so to be honest with you, most of the groups like go well. But one time I did a co-writing group that it didn't go so well. It just sometimes it just doesn't go well. It just like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like I was like it was three other individuals and they brought me on to kind of like, because they've been writing and they've been writing and doing their thing, but now I came on. And so when I was like trying to like give my input, it kind of like, how they say it went over like a lead balloon. It's like, but the thing is that like you can't let that discourage you, because sometimes you'll have better people that you write with, and some people that how they say you vibe with a little bit better and not. But I found this my own writing group that we consistently write. We haven't gotten together in a little bit, but Jonathan Stevens and Hoku from Hawaii. Jonathan Stevens, he's from Illinois, so we do a Zoom call, and previously we were writing like every single month for like some months, and so we're getting ready to go to a Heart of Worship retreat in St. Louis. So that's where a bunch of artists get together and they collaborate and they do worship together and do training. So I'm excited about that. But I think like the what I'm saying is like collaborating with different artists is it can be fun, and then sometimes it could be like, oh man, well maybe I shouldn't work with these people anymore, because you get like different perspectives, and then you get to understand like their writing process and what their strengths in, because some people might be stronger in like lyrics or melody or music, so it's like you get to feel everything out, and it's really fun though, just being challenged and kind of like like you're like how it says iron sharpens iron, kind of that kind of like the play out of the songwriting is so much fun to do that and just kind of feel like, oh yeah, like I didn't think about that, let's put that down kind of thing.
So, in simplest terms, it's actually quite intense on one hand, but maybe we could equate it to like a study group. I remember when I just started high school and studying with my friends, there were some, or let's say peers, there were some persons you study with, and at the end you learn so much from, and there were some, it's like, what am I
Yeah.
doing here? Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Exactly like that probably.
okay. Well, I'm really impressed though listening, because I mean I've interface with a few creatives and um, songwriters, music producers, but I didn't learn before that, it is so consistent and intensive in order for, the work to be out there. Many persons, they would listen to a song and they say, oh, I love this song, or they'll say, I don't like this song,
Mhm.
what is this? But they don't really understand the work that gets into it. So with that, said, let's say someone is thinking of doing something similar. They might be a musician, author, and they would like to, just produce content. But in this case, I'm sticking to music. What kind of advice, suggestions would you be willing to pass on to such individuals?
Yeah, so I think that the first thing that I would say is, I mean, the social media is there, like social media, Instagram, Facebook, you can do reels. There's actually free programs, like free apps like InShot or CapCut that individuals can use to edit. I would encourage just to start singing and putting out reels on Instagram and just start, collaborating with other individuals. But I mean, if you want to take it a step further, because I mean, there are some artists that have been found just by reels, like there are some really famous artists that have been found through YouTube, through Instagram, and their following has gained that way. So the platform is there. It's just taking advantage of it and just using free apps like InShot or CapCut that can help you edit your videos and put everything together. And then also, I did want to say is like, find like if you want to take the next step forward and actually record and put out a song, it's so important to find like the right producer. There's some producers that they say, "Oh yeah, I'll do that," but it's like their strength is country music. But if you want to sound country, go to like a country producer. But if you want to sound more contemporary, go to a contemporary producer. So like you have to recognize that someone says, "Oh, I'm a producer." Yeah, they might produce the music, but their strengths might be different in different areas. So that's one thing that appreciate about my producer, Landry Cantrell, that he's able to really know my sound, and he's really flexible too. And so there's some people that are more flexible, some people that are just they're always reverting to one sound. So finding a really good producer, obviously saving money because it's going to take sacrifice time and money, traveling expenses, and paying for studio time or paying per song, depending on how your producer would do it. And then I encourage them, just start journaling. That's how I started. I started journaling. I started writing poems, writing songs. But and I would encourage everyone to um, don't be so offended when someone starts critiquing your work. And that's so hard to say though. It's like easier said than done because like you're like, "Oh man, I have this song and this is such a great song." But then like you have somebody else hear it and they're like, "Well, I don't really think this makes sense or this doesn't make sense or this doesn't really rhyme." But the thing is that, so many people see criticism as a negative thing, but kind of like changing the mindset of criticism. Criticism is meant to make someone better, but then we always look at it as a negative thing, like, "Oh, I'm not good enough." But it should be like a challenge to be like, "Hey, I can like measure up to the occasion. Like I can step it up a little bit." And so in that, I would be like taking songwriting classes or finding a songwriting mentor, always like putting your song and letting other people hear it before you record it because you don't want to put all this money out and then like the song makes no sense. You wasted money and then like you have to go back and like re-record parts and rewrite lyrics. So make sure you're not working against yourself, but with yourself and get the right team around you, a great producer, songwriting mentor, go to retreats. There's a Heart of Worship retreat that's coming up in October. They do songwriting there. There's so many songwriting courses and things online. And I think that just starting, like just start writing and start exercising that muscle is so important. And it's kind of like it's hard to direct, but if I would have to say to take the first step, is start journaling, start songwriting, and find someone to lead you and guide you in songwriting, like a songwriting mentor or something like that. But yeah, you just got to start somewhere for sure.
Yes, quite a mouthful, and I hope that individual or those individuals who are contemplating music production, especially, will just, as you say, start journaling because, yes, if you don't have content, then what can you really and truly produce?
Yeah.
Well, yes. Well, Dimas, let me say thanks for taking the time out to share with us what you have been up to, your latest project, Priceless, and the journey in terms of music recording. So, as is customary here, before we go, is there anything else you may want to share with us today?
You know what? I'm glad that you asked me that question, but I just want to take a moment to encourage everyone who does have a calling to music or a calling to want to write and you may not be the greatest singer. I want to encourage you that anything is possible. If you put your time into practicing, you could develop your skills, your songwriting skills, your singing skills, your instrumental skills. So, it's just about how much time you put into something that, you'll if you put in a lot of time, if you sow into a lot of time in practice and so on, then you're going to reap a lot of the benefits from that. So it's just like a biblical principle, if you sow, you will reap, so it's in all things, and even being faithful in the little small things so that the Lord can make you rule over greater things is so important.
It's all about investing in time and just working on whatever it is that you'll do, and over time it will build up. Well, this was Dimas Cortez. I'm Marlon Walters. Thanks for making it to another episode of Artistic Voices. If you like the content, please subscribe, like, share, and just hit the notification bell so that when something else comes out, you'll be the first to be informed. God bless.